In a city cafe in Delhi, a group of college students are glued to their phones. Some are scrolling through K-pop fan pages, others are discussing the latest Marvel movie trailer, while another hums a BTS song under her breath. This scene is ordinary, but symbolic. What we see is a reflection of how global media has quietly reshaped the Indian imagination and perhaps even our culture. Today, we explore how cultural imperialism has manifested in Indian media, how it has changed our cultural landscape, influenced the youth, and questioned what it truly means to be Indian in a globalized media world. Let's begin with the idea itself. Cultural imperialism, a term rooted in political economy, refers to the dominance of one culture over another through media, consumerism, and ideology. In simple terms, it means that the powerful nations, especially the West, shapes what the rest of the world watches, listens to, and even aspires to become. In the Indian context, this process began much earlier than Instagram or Netflix. It started in the 1980s and 90s, when India opened its markets under economic liberalization. Foreign media giants like Star TV, MTV, and CNN entered Indian homes through satellite television. And along with entertainment came something else: Western values, aesthetics, and lifestyles. For a generation raised on Ramayana and Mahabharata on Doordarshan, the arrival of Friends, Baywatch, and MTV was a cultural revolution. Indian youth began identifying more than jeans than kurtas, burgers than samosas, and Hollywood romance more than Bollywood's melodrama. Media became the new cultural educator, teaching not through textbooks but through images, icons, and influencers. Fast forward to 2025. Globalization has reached every fingertip through YouTube, Netflix, Spotify, and TikTok. The latest form of cultural imperialism doesn't just come from the West anymore. It now wears Korean makeup, dances to BTS, and binge watches Squid Game. Yes, K-pop and K-drama have become the new wave of global media influence. Indian teenagers celebrate Hallyu, the Korean wave, with fan clubs, merch collections, and even Korean language courses. There's nothing wrong with cultural exchange, but the line between appreciation and domination is thin. So, what does this mean for Indian culture? It means that our traditional art forms, languages, and values are now competing in a global market of attention. While K-pop idols trend on Twitter, Indian folk musicians struggle for visibility. While Hollywood blockbusters dominate screens, Indian regional cinema often fails to find distributors. This is not just about entertainment, it's about cultural economy. Foreign corporations, Disney, Netflix, Meta, don't just sell content, they sell culture, and India, with its massive young population, is a prime market. A 2023 report by KPMG showed that over 70% of streaming content consumed in India is of foreign origin. Netflix's most watched shows among Indian youth aren't Indian. They are Stranger Things, Money Heist, and Wednesday. Hollywood's marketing power, backed by billion-dollar budgets, leaves little space for Indian stories unless they mimic global patterns. Even our advertisements, language, and humor are changing. English phrases mix with Hindi in daily speech, and our festivals are marketed through Black Friday discounts. When Diwali sales are advertised with Western jingles and Valentine's Days overshadow Saraswati Puja, we must ask, what are we losing? Some scholars call it the erosion of cultural sovereignty. Others see it as a necessary evolution, a blending that keeps cultures alive. But in reality, the power balance is unequal. When Western or Korean media dominate, Indian creators must adapt to survive, and often they imitate rather than innovate. The danger is not cultural exchange, it's cultural dependency. In a nation begins to measure its creativity through another's approval, it stops seeing value in its own art. Yet, not all is lost. Indian cinema, especially regional industries, are fighting back. Films like RRR and Pushpa have gone global on their own terms, using local stories and universal emotions. Similarly, platforms like Koo and Chingari tried to challenge the monopoly of global apps like Twitter and TikTok through the limited success. The youth, though deeply influenced, are also capable of creative resistance. We see it in Indian street fashion that fuses Desi and global aesthetics, in independent music that mixes Hindustani with hip hop, and in YouTube creators who speak in Bengali, Tamil, or Marathi and still go viral. This is globalization. Thinking globally, acting locally. A concept that could redefine India's media future if supported by policy and self awareness. But to understand the full picture, we must also look at the political economy behind this. Cultural imperialism isn't just about art, it's about power and profit. Western and East Asian corporations dominate not only content but also platforms, algorithms, and ad revenue. They control what trends, what sells, and what stays invisible. India's role often becomes that of a consumer rather than a creator in this global media market. When algorithms promote foreign content more aggressively than local, our attention and money flows outward. The government too plays a complex role. While promoting Atmanirbhar Bharat, it also signs deals that open doors for global streaming giants. Meanwhile, local creators face censorship, lack of funding, and fewer global collaborations. So the question is, are we protecting our culture or selling it to the highest bidder? The youth of India stand at a cultural crossroads. They are global citizens, yet rooted in tradition. They consume K pop, Netflix, and Instagram trends, yet still celebrate Holi and dance to Bollywood beats. The challenge is not to reject global culture, but to ensure it doesn't erase our own. To embrace global exposure without losing local essence, to innovate Indian media industries so that our voices travel as far as ones we hear daily. I love K-pop and Marvel movies, but I also love Lata Mangeshkar. Maybe it's not just about choosing, it's about balance. And perhaps there's where hope lies. Is a generation that can enjoy both BTS and Bharatnatyam, that can tweet in English and still celebrate Kabir's poetry. Cultural imperialism may influence, but it cannot erase, as long as we keep creating, questioning, and telling our own stories. Because in the grand narrative of globalization, the most powerful story is still the one we tell ourselves.